Hello, everyone. We are going to go over mental and health class. If I can get my screen to work, it's not participating. There we go. So, health and wellness. And this is for all ages, and it is made so simple. I'll tell you a little bit about me and my story and how I came to found these simple protocols because I'm an overcomplicator. I find a ton of resources, I look through them, and then I overcomplicate the crap out of it. It took me a long time to learn that I did that. And then once I learned and found simple tools, I was like, this is great. Now I can help people. So I've done different healing protocols that have taken, this product from this company, 10 products from this company, and then do this specific routine and this routine. And it just gets really overwhelming. And then I end up doing nothing. So I need something simple and I need something effective. And yeah, that's kind of a little bit of how I got to this course here and a little bit about me. So I'm the everyday nurse who studies holistic practices. So my practice, I've actually was more interested in holistic nursing and like natural tools than medical model. And I went to school because I thought I was going to learn, how to heal everybody miraculously. And I love learning, and I don't regret my time working in the ER or addictions or mental health or community or geriatrics. I don't regret any of that time. It's not that I didn't like it. I would prefer to heal at the root and like actually help people feel really good. Um, I think there's, just a lot backwards in medical model now. And not to say I do use some of it. And like I do think that there's a time and a place where medical model it can be important. Absolutely. This is probably why I resonated a lot with the emergency room because I don't think that's something they can necessarily replace. But yeah, I thought I was going to be able to like truly heal people, and I don't really think that that happens there. So I studied natural healing long before I even went to school to be a nurse. I have a wide variety of certifications and accreditations between, natural health, traditional Chinese medicine, and Reiki and pH balancing and energy medicine, all that fun stuff. My goal here is to collectively have it all made super simple for everybody else to use and take advantage of. So it was actually only in 2022 that I had left the world of medical model to completely pursue this journey instead. And my biggest success has come from focusing on this gut health approach using natural tools, also targeting mental wellness, which we're going to talk a little bit about. I'm going to do my best to keep this under 30 minutes, but I promise nothing. This is a lot of information in a little bit of time, but I really want to give you an understanding of why we're talking about it so much because a lot of people are almost avoiding or ignoring the word gut health or the two words gut health because we feel it might just be a trend. Because that's what happens, if things take off on social media and everybody uses those words. And how do you know if this actually helps or this does or this doesn't? So it becomes almost like this trending buzzword where a lot of people will just kind of ignore it. But it is actually ancient information. And so you can be really grateful that we have improved technology because previously what they would do is if you were sick, and a lot of the times, I can't remember the exact name they used, but it was basically Egyptian times, the word would have been depression for now. It's like, I can't remember, they called it like dark times or something like that. And the treatment would be eat healthy human feces. All right. And the reason for that is because of all the good gut bacteria from the healthy person would also be in their feces. And so when people would ingest it, you would get access to that bacteria. Fortunately, we do have probiotics, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. No one's going to ask you to do that. Um, but it's the good gut bacteria that was in there. And they didn't have access to manufacturing companies to to get this bacteria right. Um, Anyways, all that to be said, we have trillions of bacteria in our gut. And with stress, with diet, with sedentary lifestyles, with all of these things, we end up having this influx of bad bacteria and not enough good. And it's not that you can't have any bad bacteria. Of course, we're going to have some bad. Um, but we need it to balance out the other way. We need more good than bad. And a lot of the times we're going in the opposite way. And I'm going to go through a list here. I think it's on the next slide, and you'll get a little bit more of an understanding of where you may sit on that balance spectrum. Of course, the one way to really test would be to get some type of stool test or anything like that. But we can listen to our bodies talk, and we can have a good baseline, right? But anyways, the gut and the brain, they're in this constant communication. So when one is triggered and so is the other, they actually communicate through this nerve called the vagus nerve. And that would be considered like a highway between the gut and the brain, which is really cool, right? So that's why we call it the gut brain axis. Um, in our gut, we have this thing called the enteric nervous system, which is made of the same chemicals, same neurotransmitters as our brain. And there is a lot of research showing that our gut is actually the one who gets the information first. So you can do with that what you will, but they are both constantly in communication. And that's why stress affects your stomach so much, because we get those anxious feelings. And where do you feel it first? Typically, you feel it in the stomach. You feel these butterflies or your stomach turn, or I always use the example of like walking down a dark alley at night. Maybe this isn't appropriate for men because maybe you're less nervous, but for women, if you've ever walked down a dark alley at night, you probably get like a little turn in your stomach or something like that. And that's anxiety presenting in your stomach. And then your stomach is like, hey, brain, I think we need to like maybe not walk down here. It's a little sketchy. But it's our gut telling us first what's going on, not our brains. So just some facts: 90% of the serotonin, approximately 90% of the serotonin, is actually produced in the gut. 70% of your immune system resides in the gut. 80% of the body's cortisol is regulated by the gut brain axis. Chronic stress, which greatly affects the diversity of the gut flora. So that's that good, bad gut bacteria I was talking to you about here just a second ago. Chronic stress is detrimental to this gut flora, the diversity of it. And a healthier person would have a very diverse gut flora, meaning you would have a lot of different good gut bacteria. And then 50% of the body's dopamine is actually produced in the gut as well. So this is huge when we're talking about mental wellness, and why mental wellness and gut health correlates so much. So this is really good. If you're on your phone, you can screenshot, or you could just take a picture if you're on your computer. In respecting your time, I won't go through every single one, but I would love for you to go and check all of these off that are more appropriate to you. The more you check off, the more likely you don't really have that great balance. You have more bad gut bacteria than you do good gut bacteria. Let me just look through quickly. I mean, there's some things: feeling anxious or irritable multiple times a day. That's not normal. I know lashing out on the kids and getting angry. Like I always thought that was a normal part of parenthood, adulthood, etc. I thought just being tired was just a normal part of adulthood. It's actually not. I don't know who needs to know this, but it is truly not. And when you learn that there's another way, it will change your life, because I did not know this, and until I did, and it greatly changed my life. Hence why I'm sitting here and not at the hospital. Brain fog, fatigue, that is directly correlated to the gut bacteria, gas, bloating, of course, even food allergies and intolerances, things like that. So just take a quick second, take a picture. If you miss it, I can send it to you. You just have to shoot me a message. But I really want to get into this because you're also seeing a new buzzword: cortisol, and regulating your nervous system. And it is not a buzzword. It just kind of seems that way, but it's actually really important in how it affects your gut health and everything else in the mix. So it fluctuates through the day, and it's not bad. Cortisol is a stress hormone. You can't not have cortisol. Like I think about using the example. So there was a time that I actually saw a bear in the woods. My husband and I were camping, and we had the hammocks and we had the fire going. It was really nice, so peaceful, quiet. It was like our first date, children free in months. And so we're just sitting there and we heard a stick snap. And that's not like, we were far in the woods. It was not just a random hunter. It wasn't anything. I don't even think it was hunting season. It was summer. And let me tell you, like, you can think about back to a time where something like this had happened to you. You can like almost hear your heartbeat in your ears. You feel that heat like coming up. So that's your cortisol raising. And so it's not a bad thing, because imagine if I'm just sitting there and I'm like, do, 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 and I hear a stick snap and I'm just doing nothing, right? You need to do something, because we turned to the side. Lo and behold, there was a freaking bear. And so what do we need to do? We like, my face even feels flushed remembering that your body does remember these things too. Um, and so what do you do in that case? Of course, my husband's all fight, no flight. I'm all flight, no fight. And so this is also when your cortisol raises, it puts you in that state of fight or flight, right? And we all react a little bit differently. Like I said, my husband is all fight. He's like, get a gun. He's like ready to fight. And I'm like running as fast as I can to get back to the four-wheeler. I'm like, heck no, I'm out. Get me out of here. We did actually end up leaving, by the way. My flight took over his fight. But yeah, so we think of these situations where we need cortisol to raise, but what happens in our body when that happens? So our body's like, okay, right now we don't need to worry about melatonin. We don't need to worry about serotonin. We don't have to worry about losing weight. We don't have to worry about metabolizing. The only thing that we need to do in this state is fight or flight. Literally, we don't need to worry about hormone balance. We don't need to worry about hunger. We don't need to worry about anything. We don't need to worry about thirst. There's nothing your body needs to worry about because it's in this fight or flight state. Now, the actual issue is there is a lot of bears in our world today. So sometimes we get an email and that's the same, like, oh my God, a bear. And then sometimes, we'll get something in the mail. Today I got something in the mail and it was definitely a bear. I'm like, oh my God, it's a bear in the mail. And so you get this panicked situation, and then you become in this, state of fight or flight. And of course, it gets progressively worse over time because we're in this constant state. And then we can actually get into adrenal fatigue where our body has produced far too much cortisol. And it's just like, dude, I can't do this anymore. You're killing me. So we can get in that state too. But just to strictly talk about when our cortisol is like constantly running high, we experience weight gain. So this, oh my God, specific to the midsection and like in the face area is huge. That's where it happens. Not your face area is huge. That's just where the weight gain happens often. You almost get like a puffy face. You can have like puffiness right here. That's typically a sign of just being in a state of fight or flight too much, right? It's inflammation. It affects your immune system greatly because, like I said, you're not in this healing state. You're in this, I need to run away from the bear state. Your body doesn't need to worry about the paper cut on your finger. It just has to run or fight. And so you'll even notice once I tell you what we can do for this, you'll notice that cuts in, any type of rashes or colds, viruses, all of these things will heal faster because your body is not in this constant state of panic. Sorry, there's of course, if you have high cortisol, you would have poor sleep hygiene. Like, you need the cortisol to lower so you can go to sleep. And then in the morning, you need it to rise a little bit so you can wake up. Typically, we should wake up with an alarm, but let's be real, that's not really the world we live in today. And then, of course, cognitive function. It literally, when your cortisol levels are high, it puts a cloud, not a real cloud, but essentially it's like a cloud being placed over your brain. So it cannot concentrate. It can't focus. You can't make decisions. It affects your memory. It does all of these things because there's quite literally a cloud over your brain. So we'll talk to you about some interventions that you can use. There are so many different resolutions that you can do. Every step is going to benefit you in some way or other. This is not a race. Healing is a journey. And I really like to emphasize that because I constantly think things are a race. And if I don't get results very quickly, I'm like, oh, that didn't work. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that because we want to go back to our old habits and just, even if you have to screenshot this and pick one thing at a time, you being 1% better today is going to serve you so well. Think if you were 1% better every day over a year, what would happen, right? So due to the complexity of everything, everybody has different triggers. Everybody has, different diets and environments and where they're at in their healing journey. There's so many different tools you can use. So of course, food, using fiber-rich foods, protein, fruits, veggies, any type of whole foods is amazing. If you can stick to this 80-20 rule that I love so much, I love the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the foods you eat would be, whole foods, proteins, dairy, or not dairy, sorry. Fruits, veggies, fiber-rich foods. That would be 80% of your day. And then 20%, just whatever you want. You want the extra cheese, I'm gonna have a I'm gonna have a piece of birthday cake tonight for my husband's birthday. I already got the cake. It looks delicious. And so that's gonna be my 20% today. So for the rest of the day, for this morning, I had a nice bowl of egg whites with a little bit of eggs, and I had a banana with it. I had my protein drink. I had sweet potatoes, Brussels sprouts, and a little bit of chicken. And, then tonight I'll have another healthy supper. And then my 20% is going to be my cake tonight. So give yourself a little bit of leeway. The 80-20 rule, if you have to start at 50-50, that's fine. That's improvement, right? If you have to start at 40-60, that's fine too. All of it is improvement. If you do one little improvement, that's going to make huge progress over time. So of course we have prebiotics and probiotics are probably going to be one of your most beneficial things that you can do. Like I said, we need, I don't know what that word is there. Obviously, I made an error here. A diverse gut flora is what I'm trying to say. So the bacteria actually dictate the foods we crave, how we're feeling mentally, how motivated we feel, and they support the immune system and so much more. So when you're taking a probiotic and a prebiotic combo, you're going to actually have better success with that food portion. That was my experience and many others. We take the pre and probiotics, don't necessarily focus intensely on the diet, and then the diet naturally comes. And I hate to use the word diet, but you know what I mean, nourishing foods, like just insert blank here. When you're craving, there's things that you can, like when you're changing the gut flora in your stomach, you'll notice you start craving more natural foods. Like instead of a chocolate bar, most of the time I would prefer to eat dates with almond butter. And that was not me before, I promise you. I was very much like a cookie cake sugar addict. I loved it so much. And now it's like I can totally do without. Water intake. Water intake is, of course, really important to detox your body. My rule of thumb is about 8 ounces of water per waking hour. So if you're awake for 16 hours a day, that's about 128 ounces, which is about 3 to 4 liters of water a day. Of course, you don't have to be perfect with that. Just aim for like the 3 to 4. Movement and stress management. So any type of moving, any type of moving is amazing. I'm not going to recommend any specific protocol, whatever. I do a variety of different things. I love to walk. I like doing yoga. I like doing strength training. I do my best to get 10,000 steps a day, but I promise you, I don't really make it there. I usually make it around the 8,000 mark. Okay. I do my best. I work sitting down. So it's not always something super simple, but it's something I'm constantly trying to improve. Stretching is huge. And then deep breathing. So you can do this 4 squared breathing, which instantly removes you from fight or flight. I'm not going to go through it for time's sake, but just to briefly tell you, you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. You hold it for 4 seconds. You breathe out for 4 seconds and you hold it for 4 seconds. This is something taught in, I think, the Navy, some type of army or military. I'm not well educated in that industry, but they teach that it was like a torture technique to remove their brains out of fight or flight. They would do this breathing pattern and it instantly removes you from that state. So the more you can do that too, the absolute better. So I do want to add kids because kids, have the same biological makeup as we do. It's just smaller, right? And how it presents in children is a little bit different. And the key differences are big emotions, because we've got in trouble too much for making big emotions. And although sometimes we still do, it's more likely that a toddler is going to have a bigger emotion than an adult. And so my favorite example is when, the kid's screaming because they got the yellow cup and they wanted the green cup. And it's actually nothing to do with the cup. It's just their stress levels right now. Like maybe you're making supper and you're stressed out and you're trying to get everything done, get the time perfect. And, they wanted this drink of milk and you got them the wrong cup. They can just, it's just too big emotion. Maybe they had a bad day at school. I don't know. But it's all due to the fact of their gut flora. Like that's it. Gut flora has completely dictated these big emotions. Like my toddler very rarely has big emotions because of our specific protocols with the probiotics and regulating his cortisol levels, which is the first toddler. I've raised 5, and this is the first one that has not had a lot of big emotions. Tummy aches is big time. Remember earlier I said about the dark alleyway, and you feel that in your stomach before you think it in your brain. So kids are very sensitive to that. They can constantly feel it because we've chalked it up as just like, oh, that's nothing. I ate something wrong, or I did this wrong, or whatever. We've just kind of slept it off. Whereas kids are really sensitive to it and they just don't really know what it means. So we know if our stomach turns, we're like, oh, well, that doesn't feel very good. Kids are like, oh no, my belly hurts. So we hear a lot of tummy aches in kids, and this is likely why. And then of course the inability to focus. Um, I don't feel like I need a lot of explanation on this. We know what sometimes kids have their focus levels, but there's an overstimulation in their gut. So it's their body is overstimulated and it takes focus from their brain because their brain is trying to see what's going on in here and it's trying to regulate everything and it just can't. So it's so much overstimulation that anything can just simply like push them off the edge and completely lose the ability to focus. So if you're like me, like I said, I need an easy button because this was a 10-year journey and hadn't seen any changes with any of the protocols I was using. And I actually told my husband, I was like, this is the last thing I'm doing. And if it doesn't work, I just quit. I'm just going to go eat McDonald's. I'm not going to worry about exercising. And I know it sounds dramatic. I totally understand that sounds dramatic. But if you're here, it's likely that you have been looking for different roads to heal and you feel completely deflated that you have yet to find one. And that's where I was sitting. I could not stop craving sugar. So people are like, well, I'll just stop eating it. It's like, wow, why didn't I think of that? Great idea. I'm trying. But the sugar cravings were intense. And I didn't know it was because my gut bacteria was wanting it. Um, Too tired to move your body. I don't know if anybody's been there before, but that's exhausting. I really, really struggled. Like I had kind of the mental energy a little bit sometimes, but my body was like, oh my gosh, I don't even think I can pick up my head anymore. That's why we sit like this, we slouch, we're just so tired, and our voices. That was me anyway. And your external circumstances are too stressful. I know I spiraled not long ago. Well, it's been over a year now, but my external circumstances were stressful even beyond the things that I was implementing in my daily life. Which I said, chronic stress is extremely detrimental to the diversity of your gut flora. You're too irritable. Like, imagine you're wanting to go for a walk or exercising, but you're super cranky, you're super emotional. Like, it's the last thing you want to do. You want to curl up on the couch and watch Netflix. You're not motivated to do healthy things if that's not your second nature. That was me. And you desperately just want to be healthy, but you have no direction. It's really hard to find direction, the right direction that you want to go in. And then sometimes maybe you pay for a coach or you pay for a program and you really just don't resonate with it anymore. So it's really difficult to invest in those types of things when it's, $500 a month and you don't even know if you're going to like it or see any changes. Um, and then there is way too much information on the internet. And then lastly, I was just too busy. I was way too busy. I started going to the gym before this last 2 years. And the only time I had available at this time, because I was working out of the home, was at 5 a.m. I'd have to wake up at 4:30 a.m. and then be at the gym by 5 a.m. And then my day would literally go to midnight. Like, what am I doing? That's 5 hours of sleep. You know how miserable I was? I only lasted like 2 weeks and then I was done. But if you're like me, if you checked anything's off, you need an easy button. Life is busy as it is, right? And so this is when I started drinking the happy juice, which I'm actually going to take a drink right now because I talked a lot. So I always like to say about happy juice, it's not a magical cure, but it is magical at the same time because it doesn't make you, there's no like, this magical green tea extract that's going to make you lose 10 pounds in 3 days. But what it does is it's going to lower the cortisol in your body so your body can release the weight. And so how it does that is there's specific strains of bacteria. Remember, we talked about eating healthy human feces at the first of this. So you can actually create specific strains or grow specific strains of bacteria, and they can do different things. And one of them in the happy juice lowers cortisol levels. So remember, if high cortisol can make you gain weight, if it can affect your immune system, if it can affect your sleep, by lowering it, you can also flip all of those things. And this is the magical part of happy juice. So it's not this magic thing that's going to make you lose 10 pounds in 3 days and you're going to magically have your life so perfect and you're going to be this magical unicorn. It's not that. It's lowering your cortisol levels so that you have the motivation to do those things. It's going to increase your metabolism too, just by using natural ingredients in it. It's going to help improve your mood. So you're going to want to move your body. You're going to want to do all those things. It also uses L-theanine in it. So there's just some amino acids and antioxidants in there. And it tells the mental chatter to like slow down. So it relaxes your brain. And that may sound counterintuitive for energy. But the cool thing is when your brain stops doing this, you actually have more mental energy to do the things that you need to do. So decision making is going to become easy. You're going to be able to just know exactly what you want to do because you're not going to have that mental chatter to like, oh my God, should I do this? Should I go for a walk? Should I do this? You're just going to get up and you're just going to do it. And that was a huge difference for me because before it'd be like, I can't, well, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go for a walk at 10. I'm going to finish this episode and then I'm going to go for a walk. And then, oh, okay, wait, I got to put the laundry on and then I'm going to go for a walk. Oh, but I don't have my Apple Watch charged. So I'll have to go for a walk after that's charged. Well, then what do you know? Supper time. Kids come home from school. Then it's, it's getting too dark out. So I don't want to go outside in the dark. Okay, well, I'll plan it for the morning. And that was my constant life. Whereas once I started using Happy Juice, I would just get up and I just find myself outside walking. And I'm like, I don't even have my watch on. I didn't even care if I had my watch on. I was just out doing it because that is the effect of quieting that mental chatter down and increasing your motivation. But of course, I wanted to make sure you knew that this was also for children. That's actually what I'm drinking now. Apparently, I'm a child, but it just tastes really good. So I'll just have 2 kids a day, which may not even be necessary, but I really like to have all the benefits that I can. So the Kids Happy Juice does all of the same things. The difference with that one is they added this Wellmune blend to support their immune system. So a story I like to share is when I took my son to the naturopath for the first time, and it was hundreds of dollars worth of supplements to do like one thing. It was so expensive. Like one supplement alone was $100. And it was hard because one supplement is like, okay, you have to do this in the morning on an empty stomach. You have to do this one at this time with, food in their stomach. You have to do this. Like, I'm a busy mom. I have appreciation for times and food in the system. I understand that. I worked as a nurse passing medications for years. I get it, but I don't have time for that. Like, I need everything in this little package and then just dump it in water. And that's what this is. So it's got their gut support, their mental health support, as well as their immune support, all in just one simple package. And that to me meant everything in the world. It is something so simple that my kids can just mix up their own. Even my toddler, I do help him open it because that's a horrific mess when he opens it himself. But he even makes it himself. He puts it in a sippy cup, he closes the sippy cup, and he shakes it himself. That's how simple this routine is. And for a well-rounded supplement being so simple once a day, I don't have to worry about food in his stomach or anything. He can just take it. It takes the weight of the world off my shoulders. And now, okay, I did pretty good, right? We're only 30 minutes. I did have a couple testimonies that I have permission to share from some really amazing gals on here that took a chance on themselves. I'll be quick about it because I do want to respect your time, but I do think this is really important for you to hear. Gloria, this is my good friend Gloria. She was a little iffy on trying it, but she is like, I think I have to just try it. So I'll give a little bit of a background story where Gloria was on proton pump inhibitors. So she had stomach or acid reflux so bad. If she was even taking her pill on the 25th hour, like you take it once every 24 hours, if she made it to the 25th hour, stomach acid was coming out. And she would vomit a lot. I'm trying to like say this in a really nice, calm way. Gloria would be sick all of the time with her acid reflux. She ate Tums like candy. She was so sick. And all of that was a result of having too much bad gut bacteria. That's it. So she started this and it was like a simple switch. Like she no longer craved the energy drinks or the pop in the morning. She was out on hikes walking her dogs. Medications become unnecessary. She just stopped. She stopped taking them, not by my suggestion, mind you. I don't, suggest anybody do anything with their medications. It's not my expertise anymore. Um, but she lost over 60 pounds. You can see the difference in her face. Like, look how puffy her face was. Obviously, her cortisol levels were like jacked at that point, and now her skin looks like she's glowing. She's so happy. She's moving around all the time. She's got a new job. My God, she gets like 20 to 30,000 steps a day. Isn't that crazy? Kind of jealous. I'm envious of her for getting so many steps, and I suck at it. But anyways, it's completely changed everything for her. It's phenomenal to see. And now we have Miss Leanna Rose. My favorite day when Leanna tried it in the first week or two, she had texted me and she said, "What the heck is this stuff?" She was at the cash register, and when the attendant is like passing you your change and you're like panicking because there's people behind you, and you're like trying to stuff in your wallet. You're so anxious and sweaty and nervous, and you're just trying to get out of everybody's way. She said she went and she got what she needed. The attendant passed her change, and she just like put it in her purse and just like walked out. And then she kind of stopped and she's like, "Wait, what?" She said, "I wasn't even anxious." And I know that seems so silly, but you can think, if you can stay calm in those little everyday situations, like what's happening in your body, if you can start staying calm in these everyday tasks that we normally get so anxious. We're like, "Oh my God, I gotta get the change in my purse," panicking and sweating and freaking out. Like, I don't know if anybody can relate to that. I don't do that, but I do know a lot of people that do. Um, and yeah, now she's just totally cool, calm, whatever. Before too, in those anxious days, she was drinking a pot of coffee. She completely stopped the coffee, just zero interest in coffee anymore. She no longer needed it for whatever physical energy it actually gave her. If you're a coffee drinker, it doesn't really always give you energy. And yeah, she is just a whole different person, different mom. She's homesteading and she has a ton of energy and no social anxiety, which is just so nice. You can see how bright her eyes are. Like, I just think it changes the complete brightness, texture, tone of your face and everything. And then we have our last testimony, Miss Jessica. This one, I actually didn't know her story until I was making this. And she just told me, well, this was a month or so ago. And she told me, and I was like, "What? Like, how did you not ever tell me this before?" She had alarmingly low blood levels. I think CBC. I'm pretty sure she meant RBC, red, hemoglobin. It was really low, is what I'm trying to say. And in medical models, she was supposed to get a transfusion. She's a little stubborn. She decided against it without my help or anything like that. Just trying to say, make sure you read the bottom. I'm not a doctor. I do not treat, diagnose, prescribe, or alter any medications. But anyways, she wanted to find her own way to bring this back up. You can see how pale she was. Her lips were very pale. She was feeling extremely tired. I think she was saying she slept probably 15 hours a day or something wild like that. So she started with changing her gut bacteria with the happy juice. And within a month, her numbers raised from 64 to 80, and they've been climbing ever since. So that is a great effect of how, shifting your gut bacteria and supporting your gut can really change everything in your body, because we're lowering the cortisol, which is releasing the inflammation, which is supporting our gut health, which is supporting our mental health. You're sleeping more, your body can heal more, you're sleeping more effectively, I should say. More sleep doesn't matter if you're not getting quality sleep. But all right, so those are amazing testimonies that I always love sharing, because first of all, Jessica's is phenomenal. I didn't even know about it. And then Gloria Leanna's is also amazing. It's been an amazing journey to watch them. So how can you get started? How can you start feeling better? How can you get up on this testimony board and start explaining to me what's changed for you? Because this is, if you've followed me on Facebook for any amount of time, I love posting testimonies because I love seeing the different changes in people. We don't know what's going to change when you start supporting your gut health properly or lowering your cortisol, because it is such a wide variety of things that can change, which is freaking amazing. You can change from, physical health to mental health. There's a whole, I don't know, literally anything on it's nothing's off the table. When you get out of that fight or flight, your body can do what it's supposed to do. So how you get started is whoever invited you here, you just shoot them a message, let them know you're ready. If you came just directly from the event, you can message me. I'll make sure you get with whoever invited you, or if it was me, I'll make sure I get you the discount code to get started. How long do you drink it for? So this is a great question. I would suggest that you give it I would suggest give it minimum 90 days. Now, there are, I don't know a percentage. There are people that see benefits within the first week. I was one of them. Gloria was one of them. Leanna, and I believe Jessica was also one of them. There are people that do see results in the first week, but we have this thing called phased benefits. So what can happen with phased benefits is like, in the first month, you might feel, you get better sleep. You might feel more calm. You might feel more energized. Your skin might start to lose that inflammation, like puffy texture. Second month, maybe you're noticing your pants are getting a little bit looser. You might notice you're even calmer. You might notice your stress resilience is really strong. Like normal things that were setting you off are no longer doing that. And then in the third month, you're gonna continue to see benefits because it's like a foundational, like stacking the column, right? So I would suggest giving it 90 days to really see the potential that you have in this healing journey. And then after that, kind of like I still drink mine. Like there's a lot of people that have continued to drink it over the years. You can do with it what you want. And at the 90th day, if you want to give it a break, see how you're feeling in a week. Maybe you still need it. Maybe you're doing great with your new habits and you feel awesome. Everybody's going to be a little bit different here. So I don't like to give an answer on that other than like I would suggest giving it the 90 days so you can really see what you're capable of. And then how quick can you see results? I already kind of answered that. Like I said, some people are seeing changes in the first week. Some people, it's the full 30 days. It just kind of depends on where you sit and how your body's gonna take it. But yeah, I was actually the first day, but I thought it was a placebo. The first 3 days I thought it was a placebo, and they were minor changes, right? But they make the world a difference when you have a really busy life and like you're not dead tired at 8 p.m. And I was actually able to do laundry without dragging myself down the stairs. Um, so, and the other question we hear a lot is, I've seen something like this before. What if it doesn't work like that did? So first of all, you haven't seen something like this exactly before, maybe something similar. The difference with this is we have the specific strain of bacteria, and I've never seen another company have that. So we have something very specific that's doing very specific things like lowering cortisol, increasing serotonin, while supporting the gut. I've never seen anything else on the market like that. But if it doesn't work, like I'm saying it's going to work, we do have the 90-day risk-free guarantee. So let's say day 89, you're like, I'm still not seeing any difference. I don't like the changes I'm seeing, etc. You just package up the empty boxes, ship them back, and get your money back. So they're quite confident that it's going to work. I don't see very many people return it, maybe for a flavor exchange, but even then, if you want a flavor exchange, ship it my way because I love them all very much. They're all really, really good. Right now, my favorite is grape. And then do you get a discount if you grab it? Yeah, absolutely. So whoever invited you here actually has a special discount code for you to use. So you just have to shoot them a message, or again, if it was me or you just found the group, send me a message on Facebook. Or did I put my contact info? No, I didn't. Yeah, you probably came over the Facebook event. So you can see me there and just send me a message and we'll get you connected and get you set up. Your options are grape, mango, or watermelon. So you have a lot of amazing choices. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today. I will get the recording up so you can send it to friends, whoever you need. And yeah, I hope that was really helpful for all of you. See ya. If I can shut off the recording.